It's not an easy thing to live in the darkness.
You so-called ninja are ghosts of a forgotten age.
Think! How many lives has that hand taken? Hundreds? Thousands? The blood of those you have cut down infused your sword, together with their vengeful hatred. Now, it's in your arm!
Jason Murphy,
Ninja!
I want to talk to you about Ninja Gaiden.
That's not how you say it. We were corrected a couple of times, as I knew we would be.
I actually wanted to explain this. Like, when this game originally came out on the NES back in the old days, like, there was no Wikipedia, there was no pronounceguide.com, there was nothing but the other dudes in elementary school talking about it, and everybody said Ninja Gaiden.
Yes,
and
precisely.
And then, suddenly years later, you realize, oh shit, that's not how I'm supposed to say it. But you've only been saying it that way since you were like 12. So
yeah, that's an old habit to break.
Yeah. So I thought about. I also thought about. I think that's the reason that I say Ryu, even when I'm talking about like Street Fighter instead of Ryu Hayabusa.
I still say Ryu as well.
Yeah. So everybody, we know that we're wrong. But it's hard to break a habit that old. So
I know I'm wrong a lot of times, but I say it anyway, just because I like just getting under your skin. Not you, Jeff, but the listeners. So there.
Jason Murphy, professional internet troll. There you go.
Yes, I have a microphone.
I've got
let's talk about Ninja.
Ninja. Yes, Ninja Gaiden 3 is the latest in the Ninja Gaiden series by Team Ninja. It's real clever there, guys, and follows the exploits of Ninja Ryu Hayabusa as he cuts dudes up. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the story to this because it's fucking ridiculous. The actual story goes something like there's these guys and they're attacking places and they demand that Ryu come out and fight them, and oh boy, like what you end up. I mean, I played Ninja Gaiden Sigma and I never got a chance to play 2, but it seemed to me like those games were much more steeped in like demons and old gods and like crazy magic, like ninja magic and stuff like that. And this seems to be a lot more cyber dudes with machine guns and big knives and stuff like that. Like there's a lot less of the weird demon stuff that there was in the previous games.
A lot of dudes with machine guns and big knives.
Yeah.
Like every half step they're going to throw like an entire unit at you.
Yeah, I don't. Once again, I feel like somebody maybe needs to write like a comic book or something, or a comic strip that explains where the hell these dumbasses come from. Because once you've like just run your sword through 20 or 30 of them, I could see some of that. I mean, we saw that in the video that we recorded. There was the one guy who kind of throws down his gun and demands mercy. So maybe it's just, once you've seen what they just showed all those guys that video in the recruitment, they're like, dude, don't surrender to this guy. Look what happened.
Exactly.
Look what happened to Joe.
Yeah. There's got to be. I want to see a video game where it's all of the video game head honchos getting together and saying, so we have a severe henchman shortage. This country we were farming them out from, it's empty now. It's just an island because Ryu killed all them motherfuckers.
I don't know how far you got through the story, but it just goes in some weird directions. Like,
yeah, let's be honest, Jeff. It doesn't matter how far I got through the story. It does not matter because anytime I kept hitting pause, and whenever it said skip this movie, you know what I did.
What do you need my help for? Oh no, we don't need your help. You need ours. Mizuki, show him the video.
This was just sent to us by the government.
Bring us Ryu Hayabusa! Bring us Ryu Hayabusa! It's you they want. Ryu Hayabusa.
Well, I have to say that may have been a really good decision in the case of this particular game, because this game did something that I really don't like, and it just doesn't seem necessary, and that is that they throw this little 8-year-old girl into the story, and she's a big deal, and I'm like, why can't we just have a game with grown-up ninjas doing grown-up ninja shit to each other? Why do we got to throw in the touching scene between the hardcore ninja and the little blonde girl, giving him little origami ninja stars? It's like, I don't need that. I signed up for hacking dudes
unless it's Lone Wolf and Cub. Let's keep the kids out of this.
Yeah. Then, it's ludicrous as the story is. I will say that it does give them a good opportunity to kind of jump all over the world. You start out in was it London, right? It was the first level. Not that you could really tell for the number of bloody limbs on the ground.
Once you've seen one city just drenched in blood, you've seen them all. It's like, I can't tell what city this is because there's just blood everywhere.
But they go. I mean, the story takes you to the desert and the jungle, ninja village. I mean, just all over the place. And that was one of the things that I found good. Is I liked that. I think that at least Sandra played Ninja Gaiden 2, but Ninja Gaiden Sigma seemed to have a lot more. It seemed the whole thing kind of just seemed to be very gothic, like it take place in very kind of gothic settings. And this, I enjoyed the change of scenery that you got. The only problem was that it didn't really do anything to change what you were fundamentally doing throughout the course of the game. Like, okay, you're in the desert city now, but you're doing the exact same thing. It's just window dressing. Like, it doesn't really make any impact to the way the actual game plays.
Jeff, I know you've been dodging this word, but it's the biggest word you want to use.
What's that?
Repetitive.
Oh god, that's so repetitive.
It's so repetitive. It's okay. Here's my review of the game. You're going to make me talk more, but I could really get by with this. Square. Square, 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 square. Square, 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 square.
Well, let us not forget, because it's not just square, 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 Jason. It's also L1, R1, L1, R1, L1, R1, L1, R1. Video game industry, stop doing this shit. Like, it's not necessary.
And what Jeff is talking about is a climbing mechanic. It's because you have the daggers where you can do your ninja climb and plunge them into a vertical surface, and L1 is your left arm, and then right, and you have to do it in order.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of dumb.
It's just repetitive and boring. Like, it didn't make me feel. It was every time I got to the sequence, it was more like, oh god, this again. I mean, it was never. I mean, sometimes they use those kind of controls to kind of put you more into the motion that your character is doing, but in this case, it just didn't work. And there was another title that we looked at recently that I think did that as well. That I was just like, oh no, God, please don't be bringing this stuff back.
A lot. Was it I Am Alive that was doing it?
Was it?
I don't recall.
Okay.
A lot of games. So many games are doing it lately, and it's really. Why do you make us want to do that? Why don't we just climb? This is something that came along in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Why don't you just let us climb? It's like we've been climbing just fine for the last 30 years, and now you have to make it not even a mini game.
Yeah.
You just have to make it this repetitive button mashing. It's why are you complicating things? You should try to make things simpler.
But back to what you were saying about the controls and the repetitive nature of them, I thought that, like, I actually went and watched some YouTube videos before we started playing this, back of Ninja Gaiden Sigma. God, I'm gonna keep saying it that way through this entire review. And it occurred to me that a lot of people have been complaining about this, and it was something that I don't know if I really realized it while I was playing the game. It seemed repetitive, but then looking back on those previous games, they have really dumbed down the combat mechanics in this game.
Oh yeah, this is like a castrated version of Ninja Gaiden Sigma or whatever, like the Ninja Gaiden Sigma Black or what. And yes, I am pronouncing it incorrectly on purpose, but it's like they just stripped all of the cool mechanics out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that match up to your previous experience? It was a lot more versatile.
It was more, I guess, that it was more like you would there was less skill involved in playing this game. It was more just like I'm jamming on the square button, and then okay, here's a dude that's blocking my attack, so now I'm going to hit heavy attack to break his guard, or every so often you'll get guys that they have this, oh god, it's so irritating, this bullshit unblockable throw maneuver where they just grab you and shove a knife in you and then throw you down on the ground, where you have to slide, do your little ninja avoidance to get away from them. And it just became, the whole thing just became very formulaic. By the end of the game, it was just like, all right, this again, just do. All right, now let's go on to the next thing.
Which is not to say that it's especially simple.
See, I think that the main thing about it is that it's less,
or easy. Easy is the word I should use, rather.
But that it's less like technically challenging, and it's more just like things are happening really fast. Like when I was getting hit in this game, or whenever I got kind of trapped in a corner with combos or things like that, it seemed to be that the problem was less not knowing how to deal with this enemy, that it was I just couldn't do it fast enough. That I just couldn't get out of the way fast enough for this guy. And don't get me wrong, this game is, it's getting in the Hall of Fame for, I was ready to throw my controller right through my TV and just end it all like, oh, fuck you, ninja! I don't.
I thought there were some sequences that were actually pretty exciting, though. Like some of the boss fights, the ones that weren't incredibly frustrating, like the giant helicopter at the top of the construction building. I thought that had a lot of variety, and it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, there were plenty of places in this game where you could see like you could see what a badass ninja video game would be like. Even the mechanic of zooming in when you're cutting the guys in half, kind of going into slow motion, you're jamming on the X button over and over again. That was cool the first 25 times that I did it, and then it just became routine, and it became something that kind of just got boring. Yes. But yeah, later on in the game, there are also places where they have kind of almost like Shadow of the Colossus style bosses that are huge that you're running up and chopping up, and there were some really interesting parts in this game. The problem is the whole game is crippled by this really super simplified gameplay mechanic, and I feel that if they wanted to do that, like when you start up the game, there's the hero mode, and then there's the ninja mode. It's like ninja normal, ninja hard, and then hero mode. Hero mode is what this experience should have been, and then they should have left all of the stuff in from the previous two games in the regular mode, because there was also no upgrade mechanics or weapon switching or like healing items.
Very few weapons.
Yeah.
No healing items. You were healed by your ki, by your ki meter at the end of each battle, which is understandable, I guess, but it was just really weird to take the potions away, or I don't remember exactly how you healed in the previous ones.
I'm pretty sure it was potions. You bought them from the store, and then you put them in like the map to the D-pad, I think.
Yeah. This was just really, they just took so much away, and the one thing that really started driving me crazy, even though it's a very powerful weapon in your arsenal, I stopped using it, was the dragon magic.
Oh, the Ninpo?
Yeah, the Ninpo, because it would summon this giant flaming dragon, and every time when I would meet bad guys, I'd be like, get used to this one, boys, because you're going to be seeing it a lot. I'm sorry. I'm kind of a one-trick pony. I don't have anything else I can do.
Yeah, it was the same was kind of true of the weapons. Is that they gave you, like, over the course of the game, you were passively given new weapons, but it was always another sword.
Yeah,
like the previous games had the big scythe and like ninja claws and all kinds of crazy ninja weapons, and this was just like, yeah, one sword, that's it. That's what else do you need? Come on, don't be greedy. One sword should be enough.
Yeah, it would have been better had they given me two swords, and instead of corrupting one of my arms, like a demon arm had grown out of my back, and then I had 3 swords at one time, one of which was held by a demon arm. Come on, I just came up with that, Team Ninja. You couldn't have done that all throughout the development cycle? You couldn't have figured that one out?
No, Jason.
I just did that just right off the top of my head. Bam. There you go.
They were too busy looking for places to put in that patented Team Ninja boob jiggle throughout Ninja Gaiden 3.
Well, God bless them for that. But I need a little bit more. I'm sorry. I've played Dead or Alive volleyball. I'm going to need more than that.
So let's see what else we got here.
One thing that I wanted to bring up. How in the hell is this about ninjas? What about Ryu Hayabusa is a ninja at this point, aside from his mask? And, like, he carries a sword.
That's a pretty good point. I mean, he does a lot of. He is slicing through a lot of helicopters. Was it just me, or I felt like the longer this game on, the more I felt that like there should have been a page or something that said the ninja's natural enemy is the helicopter. For thousands of years, these two graceful creatures have been locked in a deadly dance. Because it seems like throughout the game, there's just helicopter, more helicopters, and this guy has no problem just shooting down helicopters with a bow and arrow, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Rarely do you behave like a ninja. Ninja's all about stealth and clouding men's minds. You run through this game like you're fucking Conan. Just cleaving stuff, spraying blood everywhere. And the only time you sneak around is, I don't even know why they bothered putting it in there. It's when you walk up to someone really slowly and then press triangle, when they happen to be looking maybe kind of in the other direction.
Yeah, it's telling to say that, like WoW, like World of Warcraft has a better stealth system than Ninja Gaiden does, because you have to press real gently on the stick, and there's only like a dozen times in the game where this is even useful, where you manage to climb up something and some guy's got his back to you. You could finally, because most of the time, you're just jumping down off of a building into the middle of dudes, and you start knifing them, and they're all just like, it's a ninja! Yeah.
Flying down like a crazy, bloodthirsty Batman. You just fly through the air with that glide mechanic, and then you hit the ground and gracefully, or by landing on someone, I might add. And then it's just slaughterhouse time, which is awesome, but not very ninja-like
Jason,
at all.
Jason, don't you know that ninjas aren't bound by the laws of physics like us normal human beings?
Oh, I'm sorry.
They use their special ninja physics where they can jump off the top of a building and their shin bones don't come flying up through their legs when they land.
Yes.
So let's see what else. I tried. This game had PlayStation Move support, and I tried using it, but it was. As my friend Chuck Christ would say, garbage dick.
Garbage dick?
Yeah, because they make you hold the PlayStation Move controller in one hand, and then you have the actual PlayStation controller in your other hand. Like, they don't have support for or I could never get it to work. I tried for like an hour to get the nav controller to work that has a little left stick on it. So you have to hold the controller with one hand, which is not, super comfortable. But then just imagine the game that you played, but having to swing your arm for every ninja slice. Like, I played it for about 10 minutes, and I was tired. I didn't want to do that anymore.
So instead of pressing square, do you have to, twitch a lot?
Yeah. I mean, you basically just have to stand in the middle of your living room and have a seizure. And
No. As many times as that game makes you press the square button, that was exhausting me as it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I got carpal tunnel syndrome. Hell, I look like Michael J. Fox right now because my thumb is still going after the square button, and I haven't played it in 12 hours.
Is your thumb all beefed up? Are you ready to go to that ESPN Ultimate Thumb War 2012 challenge they have on the Ocho?
Thanks to Ninja Gaiden, I could probably snap someone's wrist in a thumb war.
Well, tell me, with these thumbs of steel, did you get a chance to play the multiplayer really much at all?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I played it a little bit more. It's much better when there's not 4-on-4. Which
can you designate that in the options? Can you say search for a 2-on-2 match or a 1-on-1?
Oh, I didn't try. That's a good point. Sometimes I just got lucky and it was 2-on-2.
Okay,
and that's a lot more fun because I'm slow for a ninja. I'm a little out of shape. Sometimes I've had too much sake, I got to be able to think about who I'm attacking, who's attacking me, and how to get into the fight, or how to get the hell out of the fight. It's kind of fun for a while, but even then it gets really repetitive because you don't really have a lot of goals. There aren't a lot of different gameplay mechanisms.
Okay, so it basically ends up it seemed like the sort of thing that may at some point evolve to giving you like a different sword or more powers or something, but it sounds like that's really not the case.
Well, you get some upgrades, and it's got a lot more upgrades than the actual game does. You've got your masks and stuff like that, and a lot of that is just cosmetic. I didn't play it far enough where I got anything that was really turning the tide or really helping me out in a fight. If you stick with it, yeah, you can. You can get enhancements to your invisibility and stuff like that. So it's actually, in some ways, much more versatile than the single player. And I don't know, there's a lot of potential here, but still just not enough to it. Not enough, maybe, I don't know, capture the flag, escort missions or something like that. That could have really made this game, the multiplayer function, stand out. This World of Shadow or whatever the hell they called it. You're playing 2-on-2 and it can be pretty fun, but then you get 4-on-4 and it's just chaos because you have such a hard time, picking out which ninja is on your team, which I guess is the whole point of being a ninja. That you're in disguise and you look like every other ninja.
Just this big clusterfuck of 8 ninjas all dressed exactly the same, swords flying everywhere. You just see you back there with your bow, like, which one? Which one?
Yeah, it looks like a cartoon fight where there's like this Tasmanian devil whirlwind, and you can see fists and swords coming out, and you just kind of stand back and just throw your stars into the mass, and then if you're dumb, jump into the mosh pit and become right into the meat grinder. But it could have been so much fun, and it was kind of interesting, much more so than the game itself for a while, but there really wasn't enough variety as far as the different types of play.
How many levels would you say there were?
As far as like the different arenas?
Yeah, the different stages in multiplayer.
I think there were like 8, maybe, something like that.
Okay, because I know they're releasing, like, I think that a lot of things that we're talking about, Team Ninja's taken into consideration because they're releasing in April DLC to add 2 new weapons to the single player and 2 new multiplayer maps in. So I was curious to know whether there was enough there to keep it from getting stale.
I'm going to need more than maps. I don't. Either I'm hiding behind a bamboo hut or I'm hiding behind a building of glass and steel. It doesn't matter. Give me some more weapons. Give me something else to do.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want to touch on?
Not that I can think of. It just makes me want to play a Tenchu game again.
Okay.
A real, actual ninja game. And it's just really stunning to me how quickly they drop the ball on this franchise.
So, I don't know, Jason, what do you think?
I'm going to say low bargain bin.
Okay.
It's a fun, mindless game. It gets really repetitive. I don't know that I'd ever pick it up again. But maybe, if they add some more to the DLC, which enhances the multiplayer, I'd like to check it out because it's really close. The DLC is really close to being cool. But as it is, it's just something that, I don't know. I just feel like I'm getting slapped repeatedly and then the game is over.
I have to agree wholeheartedly, not with the slapped part, but with the discount rating. I think that there's enough here to justify getting this game if you could get it for for less than full price. I mean, especially if you're a fan of this series, you're probably going to be pissed off, but it's still kind of an interesting game. It does a lot of stuff wrong, but it looks like with the DLC, they're at least trying to make some amends to that. And since it's got an online code for the multiplayer, if you have any interest in that, you're probably going to want to buy it anyway. So, but I tell you what, Jason, if they really want to put out DLC to make this game interesting, I think they need to put out pirate DLC. Because if
Ninjas versus pirates.
I have been waiting to play Pirate Gaiden Sigma 3 for years now, or maybe just in the multiplayer. I would love to get online and school some of these little ninja bastards with some good old fashioned piracy.
You have upgraded your peg leg. Now it's made of fine brushed oak.
The only real question is, who will die first? You or the world?